Among those who have fled the war in Ukraine are Jewish people on their way back here to Israel. Joining me now is CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl, who just returned from a trip with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews to Moldova. Tell us, Julie, what was it like there on the border?
Well, oddly enough, Chris, it was pretty quiet when we were there. It was almost surrealistic. You know, you look across the river and there's Ukraine, and it's beautiful and quaint and quiet. And you know there's a war going on there. In fact, at one point we actually heard sirens coming, but they were coming from a distance. There were about 350,000 refugees that have crossed the border into Moldova in the last weeks. It's a country of less than 3 million people, and it's one of the poorest countries in Europe, and they've like absorbed 10% of their population or more than that. So it's been, you know, quite something for them, and they're just waiting to see if there's going to be another wave.
You know, one of the questions I have when I see these refugees, whatever country they're in, is where do they take a shower? Where do they get a meal? Where do they go to the bathroom? Like just the basic human needs that people have every day that we take it for granted, but these people are refugees.
When they first come across the border, there are aid organizations, there are people there are people with buses. It's basically aid organizations from around the world that are taking care of these people. If they're Jewish people coming in, they've most likely been connected to the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, who are, you know, starting to coordinate things for them. So they're waiting for them with a bus or whatever. They're taking them to Chisinau, which is the capital of Moldova. And there, the first place they go is either the consulate, or one of the places we visited was called the Hub. And it was a tennis court, a tennis center, and the city donated it to them. The local Jewish community and the IFCJ, the foreign ministry, the Jewish agency, they all got together there. The people are processed. There's a system they go through, and then they're waiting. And from there, they're taken to either there's a big warehouse that one of the Jewish community members donated for this cause. Aid groups put down mattresses for the people, or they're just sleeping, you know, like 50 people in a room. And they have bathrooms there, and they're being fed, and they have medical attention. When we were at the Hub, one man had a heart attack, and the Magen David Adom, Israel's emergency services, was right on hand to help him. He actually happened to be somebody from the local Jewish community who was trying to help the other people.
Right.
But anyway, and his
so
life
they saved
was
his
saved.
life.
They did. They absolutely did.
So that's what it was like in the capital. You also came back with them on the flight. What was that like?
I just mentioned to you, like some of the people that we met there. We met Ludmila and her family. They had escaped Donetsk in 2014, and now they were fleeing Mariupol. And they've lost everything twice. You know, it was Ludmila, she's 47, her mother, Tatiana, and her 16-year-old son, who she credited for getting them out and encouraged him, we have to leave, we have to leave. He found a way when they had lost electricity and all communications. The building next to them was bombed, and he found a way to make a phone call, get a friend to come and pick them up, and they could get out. When we were interviewing Ludmila and her family, my cameraman Yehuda just broke down crying because he was looking at this little girl and he was thinking about his kids at home, what it would be like without a father. We have these two Holocaust survivors, Vera and Zinovi. Zinovi was 86 years old. He just had his 86th birthday under fire, you know, under bombings. And here he is. They had both run away from Ukraine as children with their families, come back and spent their whole lives there, and now we're having to flee a second time.
Julie, you know, we've reported on Jews coming back from all corners of the world for many years, and usually it's a joyful time, and it's also a prophetic time. So how did you see this in light of the scriptures?
So it was prophetic. Like you said, it wasn't so happy. People are still in shock. There were 112 people and 9 pets on our flight, including Zinovi was with us, and also Ludmila and her family were with us on the flight. It's going to be tough for them, but this is where they belong. And I think, you know, they will feel settled here. You know, like as we said earlier, there's a lot of things going on in Israel right now, but at least here, this is where they belong. This is their home, and this is where they'll be.
Yeah, even in the joyous times and sometimes the perilous times, it's prophecy unfolding. Julie, thank you, and so glad you and Yehuda went there to Moldova and was able to report on this really prophetic event and historic event.